Hi all, welcome back to my Let's Play of Oblivion. We are on our way to help the Grey Prince, who is, as a swift reminder for anyone who has not been following along, he is the arena champion, he's a half-orc, and he's questioning his heritage and he would like to find out more, so we've offered to help him very kindly. And we're just exiting Skingrad, one of the more prestigious towns in Cyrodiil, on our way to go and find his heritage, which is locked away somewhere. This is interesting. You cannot go that way. Turn back. It's like, I think games, open world games, tend to avoid doing that. I'm skirting down here because I want to avoid Kvatch, because I know there's story stuff associated with there, and I want to come back and just do that wholesale later. So, and I'm not sure if you get accosted here. I think you might do. So I want to kind of try and do this loop. But yeah, I think games tend to these days have built in a natural barrier to the world, just one that you can't cross. Or there's the old invisible wall, which is what that was technically. I prefer the natural barrier stuff mostly, but it's interesting to push up against the limits of what a game does and see how it responds. New biome time. We are in, what's it called? Gold Coast. I believe named because of the goldish texture of its plains or its grasslands. It's fairly flat. Again, I think actually one of the interesting things, because we've gone, I think we've gone all of the cardinal directions now, haven't we? This is the last one we had to go. So I think one of the interesting things I've actually noticed from the world design, even though it's less alien than Morrowind, less out there, I think it actually does a lot quite subtly. Has my grass texture thing been turned down weirdly? Object fade, active fade, tree fade, grass distance. I'm going to turn these up. I think we've got like a good enough PC to turn those up, considering this game is pretty old. But yeah, I think the thing it does is it manages to move between biomes that are distinct enough to be different, but they also manage to have the capacity to still feel a part of the same land. There's not just this hard cut-off. Maybe in the north a little bit, but, you know, I think it works quite well to make a cohesive land. Even though it is cohesive, though, I suppose it's still a little less interesting than Morrowind. This is Anvil, by the way. The westernmost coastline of Cyrodiil. It is a port town. God, have I been recording that long already? Oh god. I was like, I'll just walk this distance. It's taken me like 15 minutes. World's a bit bigger than I thought it was, actually. Good job there is some fast travel. But yeah. Ooh. I think it's Mazik, is it? Meek.
Maik knows much, tells some. Maik knows many things others do not.
He's basically a bit of a joke generator almost, but within the context of the Elder Scrolls.
I have seen dragons. Perhaps you will see a dragon. I won't say where I saw one. Perhaps I did not.
Don't think there's any dragons in this game. And we'll have to wait to see him again to see what he says. But it's things like that, you know. I've seen something that doesn't exist in the game. Well, it doesn't exist in the game, so you know. I believe this is us. Now, let's try and sneak up, because I think there are some enemies outside. And I don't believe... Have we hit anyone in stealth yet? I can't remember. You basically get 3 times damage for your first hit against someone in stealth, or whenever you're in stealth. So... Oh. It didn't work. Interesting, though, that there are skeletons as our enemy of choice here. I don't know if my guy would be set off by that, though. Maybe. Am I hinting at something? Me? No, I wouldn't dream of it. I have entered Crowhaven. Somewhere inside I will unlock the truth that Agnorak Gromalog is searching for. I should be cautious, however. The fort has long since lost its notable trappings, and the presence of evil is unmistakable. Well, perhaps we should crouch then. That's what will get rid of evil. So, as we clear out this dungeon, something that might take a few minutes, I think I would like to talk about a game I've been playing. This is something that I did a bit in Morrowind. I don't want to get too carried away. Why am I not hitting this wolf? I don't want to get too carried away by just talking about different things from the game that is currently being played. That being said, I think, we've got a bit of time to fill. We're clearing a dungeon, so I don't think there's any harm in doing so. I have been playing... actually, this is interesting. So, by the time this video comes out, there'll be an announcement on the channel for... and I may as well talk about it here, actually. But it's cool. It's going to be for... I think I'm going to call it the Video Game Book Club. And the idea is it's something that you can choose to play along at home yourself, or you can just watch it. And I'm going to set up a game every month or thereabouts, maybe a bit shorter if the game's shorter, maybe a bit longer if the game's longer. Play through it, and we're going to have a conversation about it with questions, and also, sort of analyse the game and see what we like about it, what we don't, and what it's doing. The sort of games I want to cover are going to be expansive, so it's like really aimed at people who want to sort of expand the types of games that they're playing. I want to involve everything from the biggest of games to a lot smaller if possible, and new games, old games, the whole shebang. So I'm quite looking forward to doing it, and the game, I've started playing it a bit ahead, just so I could get an idea of the format and how we're going to proceed. And the game I've been playing is Assassin's Creed Valhalla, which is a very new game. One I'm enjoying a lot as well. Also, top professional tip, if you do want to play Assassin's Creed Valhalla, I would recommend using the Ubisoft Plus method of playing it. This is a way of basically doing a monthly charge, and you can play all of Ubisoft's games. I don't think it's something you want to say subscribe to. They probably haven't got enough games to, but like this month or last month, both Valhalla and Legion were released. You'd be paying, £80 for both of those. No idea other currencies, but my currency, £80 for both of those, thereabouts. No, probably closer to 100. Whereas if you do Ubisoft Play, it's $14.99, and you can play both of them. So, recommended route of playing. I'm going to save here. I have a feeling we're going to hit some story. In fact, there were some doors down here we missed, so I want to go and empty those and then come up here. Anything in these coffins? No. So yeah, I've been playing Valhalla. A cheap way to play the game. The game after it is going to be a newish game, but way different in scale. And I hope to have a video released on it at the end of December, is going to be the plan. But yeah, no, I'm really, really, really enjoying Valhalla, which was quite surprising to me in a lot of ways, because I probably have... my relationship with Assassin's Creed games is very much, I will play a few hours of it. I think Odyssey, I played 20 hours, I got it secondhand. I wasn't particularly too worried about, dotting all the I's, crossing all the T's, or even seeing the whole story. That wasn't too much of a bother to me. So what I was doing instead was just dipping in and getting a bit out of it. But what I'm finding with Valhalla is there's enough to actually warrant, digging a little deeper and playing a little more, and I'm enjoying that process. And I think a lot of it is sort of, and it's why this is not a bad place to talk about it, but a lot of it is, or a lot of the enjoyment is coming from things similar to what I'm enjoying about Oblivion. it's the world. It's just has such a well realized and beautifully rendered world that runs like surprisingly well. Like my machine, I know I was talking earlier about how I should be able to run this game well, but this is an old game. My machine's not new, it's 5 years old. And it's still like pretty decent, pretty well spec'd, but it isn't, the hardest of hardcore. But I'm running Valhalla fine on relatively high graphics, and it's really, really enjoyable. I'm not sure if I have much more to say on sort of the actual story elements or anything like that, and I think the things that I've been paying attention to in the game are going to be stuff that I'm going to have to sort of do some outside research, I believe, because, I want to talk about the history of the game a little bit, and I want to talk about the mechanics of it and the world and its rendering of England, the country I live in, because it doesn't feel like England to me. It feels like it's missing like some key things, but it's also a really good rendition of some aspects of our countryside, such as I think the woodlands are really well done, and I think probably the towns are well done, but just the way it all fits together feels incredibly video gamey to me. That's not to say I don't like it. It's probably my favourite aspect of the game, and it's something that's keeping me coming back. So yeah, I think it's, we'll do a little part announcement here, but there will be a video on the channel as well by the stage this comes out, fingers crossed. But yeah, I think it would be an interesting way to approach some other games, and it's sort of, if you go back on the channel sort of near its inception, it's sort of, I was doing a thoughts on games thing, and one of the primary things I want to do is talk about games, how they're made, not necessarily how they're made, but the construct of them with the channel. And it's obviously not something you necessarily, I do a bit here and there in the Let's Plays, but this is just not, this is almost side stuff. It's a different way of delving into things, would probably be the way I'd say it. It's not that necessarily this is completely on the side and doesn't matter. It's a longer term thing that you delve into things slowly, whereas the other stuff is going to be a quicker release. But yeah, so yeah, if you look at the thoughts on game stuff, you can see that, oh, we're being attacked by someone with an aim. You can see that that's the sort of style I want to go for, but a bit more long format. I want a gun for about 40 minutes, but I wonder if it's going to take me longer than that. But I'm unsure on these things yet. We'll let it take its own shape, rather than dictating to it what is it going to be. I do find it hilarious how many arrows they end up with them. But yeah, so that's something to look forward to. There's going to be, I'm going to use that and then use the digressions playlist as like, oh, this is just something I happen to be playing as well and want to do a video on, that I don't have the capacity to do a full in-depth thing, and I might not finish the game, whereas the book club type thing, I think it'll be fun to sort of play along with people and get questions from people and answer them, So it's a bit of a project, and as always, this is all subject to change as things go along. I'm the sort of person who likes to keep things evolving if possible. So we've just killed a human person, or appears to be a human person, who was chilling in here with loads of undead topless. If that doesn't set alarm bells ringing, I don't know what does. Let us go and have a look through their stuff. Letter. I was heartbroken when you rejected me. Tell me what I can do to win your heart. I will slay trolls, walk through thorns, fast for a week. Please don't shut me out of your life. I love you more than a flower needs sunshine. Your penitent lover. I'm going to take that. Let's have a look in this jewellery box as well. I wonder how people are getting on with new consoles. I have no interest in buying new consoles. I'm actually saving up for a PC at the moment. Apart from the fact Demon's Souls looks really cool. I would like to play Demon's Souls, but I might just have to watch the Let's Play of it for now. I'll see if there's anyone good doing one. I constantly have an urge to be playing the Souls games in the back of my head. Ooh, a journal that probably has all the relevant story stuff just waiting here for me. How many pages is this? 8. Well, it's the flavour text of this mission, so. Entry 1. Beauty, pure and sublime. That is the only way to accurately describe my love, the Maiden Grow Malog. Ooh, we recognise that name. True, the Orcs of Tamriel are often vilified by the other citizens of the Empire, and rarely would they be considered a pleasure to look upon. So is my maiden Luktov a rare breed of Orc, unlike the rest of her kin in physical appearance? Nay, in fact she is the perfect representation of her race. Green skin, muscular frame and all. But beautiful she is all the same. For who am I to judge, who am I to criticise, when so many would condemn my very existence? I can only hope my love is understanding when she learns of my unique condition, for I have yet to reveal the most precious of secrets. Entry 2. Damn the politics of my station. Taxation and trade negotiations and meeting with disingenuous aristocrats is sometimes enough to make me regret my birthright altogether. I've spent the latter half of my life hiding my identity, guarding my secret, but now I am faced with an even greater challenge. For if word were to get out that I have fallen in love with a servant, and an orc no less, I would be all but ruined. Such is the life of a Cyrodiilic nobleman. Entry 3. Curse me for... That's it, sorry, this is like a very typical sort of British landowner narrative, and there's like certain connotations with slavery in there. I know that there was like there's literature from sort of the 1700s and that of falling in love with like slaves. I know it's framed as servants, but it has certain overtures towards that. I wonder if we're meant to just read it as a sort of facsimile of that type of story. Entry 3. Curse me for a coward, but I have not yet found the strength to tell my beloved Luktov the truth. Perhaps it's for the best, for what benefit is there in her knowing? She would share all my fears, but none of my abilities. Her life would become one of doubt and uncertainty. Still, if she is to spend her remaining mortal days with me, she has to know the truth. Entry 4. Joy and exultation. She is with child. My beloved Luktov is carrying my child. The midwives predict a boy, and we have already settled on the name Agranak. In truth, I would never realise such miracles were even possible, but the divines have granted us their blessing, and so it shall be. I must wonder, of course, if my dear child will share my dark gift. Only time will tell. Entry 5. Tonight the truth will be revealed. I will tell my beloved Luktov everything. She will know who and what I am, and we will decide how best to raise the precious child that grows in her womb. Entry 6. Betrayal. Foul and loathsome harlot. How dare Luktov question my motives, question the love I have for my own unborn child, when she learned the truth, that I, the Lord Leviticus, am no longer human, that I have walked Tamriel as a vampire for the past 200 years. How quickly she judged me. So I am a monster, am I? Perhaps I should have proven her right. Perhaps I should have drained her dry when I had the chance. But I loved her as deeply as a man has ever loved a woman, and I wanted nothing more than to bring our baby into this world and embrace my new role as father. Perhaps when Luktov has come to her senses, for she refuses to come out of her room, we can have a rational discourse about our future. I do not, however, retain much hope. Entry 7. Imprisoned. Imprisoned in my own home while I slept. Luktov locked me in my own private chambers. She called to me through the doors, told me of her plan to escape with our unborn child. She means to keep the baby from me. When I get free, I will find a traitorous whore and rip the child from her very womb. Ugh. Entry 8. 2 weeks. 2 weeks have passed since Luktov locked me in my quarters. Try as I might, I cannot free myself. I cannot breach the doors. If I do not feed soon, I feel I will go mad. I mean, there's one of these in Resident Evil, if I remember right. It would just been like brains or something to that effect. So there we go. We know his history. He's a vampire. That sort of conversation that I raised about the slavery connotations, I think they're just using that whole story as a framing device, and it might not necessarily be like super tied to that. I just know that there is certain stories and narratives and even literature that works in that realm. Origin of the Grey Prince. Yeah. Spawn of a vampire. I should talk to him. I probably should talk to him. He does deserve to know. We're home. Agronak.
You've returned. So, have you been to Crowhaven? Have you... What's this? The Journal of Lord Leviticus? My friend, you've done it. This is wonderful news. The words of Lord Leviticus himself. Perfect. Ah, I believe I owe you something, eh? Here, let me show you these moves. Step like this. Now strike. All right, now parry.
He's that good a teacher.
There you are. Some of the best combat moves you'll ever learn. You'll need them if you want to last more than 5 seconds against me in the arena. Now, let's see what this journal says. Interesting. But, Wait, can this be? But, by Shinji, I'm the son of a vampire. I'm no gray prince. I'm the spawn of evil. I thought my father was a nobleman, not some blood-sucking monster. I can't... all a lie. A lie.
You see, if this was a certain type of game, you'd have a choice there, whether to give him the diary or not. I don't know what I would have chose. I think I would have given it him, because that, like, is more interesting. Just because you find out a bit more. But that whole quest, like, has, like, real 18th century vibes to it. What's the type of novelization that am I thinking about? The ones with the thingy-majigs. Victorian-ish. It's not like the Romantics, it's the other people. It's gone. Gothic. Gothic literature. Kind of overblown and emotional. But also talking about vampires and stuff. And the horrors. I think next we are going to go to Kvatch. I think it's time. So where are we in our story that we're telling? Well, the game's telling us and we're sort of formulating it in our own head. Well, we've obviously escaped from the prison, and my guy was like, well, stuff any of this stuff about, you know, divine rights, not rights, but divine heritage. That's... There we go. And 3. We may as well use a steel short sword, hey? Divine rights of the kings and the amulet and, you know, that mission that we've been given. I think he came out and he was like, oh, who cares about that? I'll keep hold of the amulet, but we'll probably sell it at some stage. You know, it's probably worth a pretty penny. But I think what's happened is he's like getting settled into Cyrodiil and earning a bit of money. He has that nagging feeling in the back of his head that's sort of eating away at him. You know, he has this amulet, he has some promises made to a previous king, and there's a mystery to it all. And I think that's the thing that actually...
Not smart.
That the thing that actually draws him in. It's not necessarily anything to do with wanting to help or anything like that. It's he wants to know what's going on. He wants to know why he's been given this thing and what does it mean. So I think that's going to be sort of how we move forward with our own narrative in our heads. I'm just seeing if there's any, you know, bit better stuff for us. Oh, no silver of the things that we want, which is a shame, but there we go. So let's go to Kvatch. And, you know, we've been told to go there. So what's our actual mission say, just so I can frame it properly in my head? God, it is really far down here. I should take the Amulet of King Sir Joffrey at Waynham Priory near the city of Coral. Oh, so I was actually wrong. We haven't actually been to Coral either, so that's where we'll go. I didn't need to come down here. Let's go to Walwyn Inn and have a walk to Coral. So I'm going to walk to Coral in my own time, but we'll end it here and we'll start our next episode there. Thank you for watching. If you could like this video, if you've liked it, any sort of thoughts on the Let's Play, what you want me to do next, thoughts on the Grey Prince and that whole quest, then drop it in a comment below and I'll read it and respond. Also, if you're interested in the video game book club, there is a little announcement, or should be. I haven't recorded it yet, so God knows if it will be done. But I've got a couple of days off, so we should be okay. But there'll be an announcement on the channel, either there or coming up over the next few days. So go check that out, have a look, and if you fancy playing along, Assassin's Creed Valhalla is on Ubisoft Plus for relatively cheap. So go and have a look, and we'll be talking about that at the end of December, I believe. That's going to be enough for today. Thank you for watching. My name's been Billy. Goodbye.